Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump and today we're going to be talking about the best heroes to escape some of the Overwatch competitive lower ranks. And by that I mean bronze, silver, gold and platinum. Reaching diamond is an achievable goal for most players, and who you decide to specialize in can really make much more difference than you think it might. The fact is, the meta of the game isn't exactly the same at all levels. Some heroes offer easier value than others lower down, but start to hit a glass ceiling the further up you go. This isn't always the case, but is certainly observable in a few cases. This brings up a principle I want you guys to understand. This is a list of heroes that will help you rank up, not necessarily get better at the game, which, as we've said many times before, can be two very different things. Some heroes, like Ana, Lucio and Widow, just for a few examples, will require you to seriously improve mechanically long term. Their skill sets demand sustained, dedicated practice, which is certainly a way to improve, but the rise up the ranks will take much more effort and take longer, directly in relation to your level of perseverance and application to learning. If you just want to get out of, say, gold though, and don't really care about how you do it, the following heroes will certainly help. The gameplay for today's video is a mix of ours and some stream footage from PvPX. He's an excellent player and makes use of a lot of these heroes all the way up to top 500, so I highly recommend you check out his stream if you want to see how it's done. Moira. Right, so you know that Moira player who's always in your Chateau deathmatch games, stealing frags off everyone as soon as you get them low with her lock-on damage and orbs of doom? Well, that should kind of clue you in on how powerful she can be at lower ranks. At higher tiers of mechanical skill, punishing an aggressive Moira becomes much more matter of fact. Better players will kill her often when she just tries to simply biotic grasp them. At lower ranks though, hitting her enough times before you die can be a real challenge, especially with flimsy skill shot squishies. Any ability that auto-aims for you is much stronger the lower down the ranks you go. Because of this, and if you play support, you should really consider her. A gold Genji will very likely struggle as you grasp at him stealing his health, especially if you damage orb at the same time. Another aspect of her that is underrated is how useful Fade is in staying alive. The cooldown is very short at 6 seconds, and if you keep dying in the backline as a support playing a much harder hero like, say, Ana, Moira is a great option to think about. It doesn't matter that Ana's ability to pump out heals and hit anti-nades is considered meta if you're never alive long enough to get that value. Remember, this is what solo queue is actually about. Ranking up from these tiers of play is about finding ways to guarantee your own impact consistently, and Moira can certainly do that on a number of fronts. We haven't even spoken about her healing yet, which is another big bonus. It's no secret that tank play is pretty hard in Overwatch, and tanks can feed at any rank, not just lower down. Propping them up can be a real challenge, but what Moira offers is easy large volume heals with her bio orb and grasp. If you're trying to play a much harder support, the challenge for hitting those harder shots, as say Ana, can be just as much of an obstacle to you than your tank's suicidal tendencies. Even hitting an Ana nade on your tanks is harder than firing a bio orb in their general direction. If you're putting out these big heals more often because it's easier to perform and easier for you to stay alive longer because of Fade, you'll build ult charge very quickly, which if used right can carry many a team fight. Moira can get found out higher up because other heroes offer more key utility like speed, anti-heals, and the DPS are much stronger, putting an end to her DPS shenanigans. But up until that starts happening, you can really make use of her kit to rise quite quickly. Reaper. The edgelord, the shotgun wielding Talon enforcer. People still massively underrate him despite us banging on about his easy value for ages. His effectiveness cannot be overstated. He's actually still useful in certain scenarios way further up the ranks than you might expect, even being able to take over matches at Diamond and beyond. The reason for that is, his damage is very high burst if short ranged, his playstyle is very direct, and the skill it takes to outplay him is harder than it is to use him. He's a very good deathmatch hero because he can take fights at the ranges that are really in his favour quite easily there, and this should inform how you frame him in your mind. Solo queue can play very deathmatchy. Reaper is great at taking advantage of teams that aren't organised and that are oblivious to his presence because he doesn't need many shots once he's on top of you to get the job done, and has a ready-made escape, which is even better now than it was way back when because you can cancel it mid-duel to wrong foot someone. FREEDO's made a lot of videos talking about a hide and pounce playstyle for Reaper, and that is an excellent way to use him at lower tiers too. Get somewhere awkward where the enemy has to pass you by and boom, drop on a backline from high ground and they literally won't see you coming. The sheer speed at which you can kill a squishy if you hit juicy close range shotgun blasts is quite devastating, and he's also obviously good at taking care of fat tanks that are in bad positions, which at lower ranks is quite often. The best part is, all of this isn't that hard to either understand or execute in comparison to some other damage options. Many a Tracer will die before they even know what happened if they're not that great at managing their blinks and tiny health pool, which at say gold is probably a given. Reaper's kit is simple, effective, and easy to use once you've grasped a few principles about how not to trap yourself. If in doubt, edgelord it out. Brigitta. Okay, so I know what you guys are thinking. Why, Eddie, would you be telling more people to play such a problematic hero? Well, the answer is a lot of the game revolves around her, and that's not just at low levels, it's extended all the way up to the pros. The reason for that is her value is so high and so easy to get that players have gone from like gold to masters only playing her, if not even higher. She has the best stun in the game on a short cooldown, an easy insta-kill combo, and a shield that allows her to be pretty much wherever she wants all the time. She's much harder to deal with than play, it's that simple. And armor pack is insane too. You can be winning a duel as a DPS, only to see your opponent return to full health and then some in the blink of an eye. She can also be played in so many different ways, some harder than others. One can get a ton of value by simply hiding, stalking squishies, then shield bash comboing them when they come into your range. Don't underestimate what third-personing your shield round a wall can do. You can see people coming, they can't see you. Part of the reason she's a bit unpopular in some circles is because she makes much harder heroes to play somewhat irrelevant. Think about Tracer. She dominated the game for a long time at the very top skill levels, and in nobody's possible conceptualization could they argue she doesn't take more skill to play than Brig does. We don't see that much of Tracer now at the pro level, do we? Brig is also obviously a core part of the dominant metacomp GOATs as well, but that kind of team play is kind of hard to replicate. In solos, you can dine out on her easy kit at all ranks. Oh, and Rally is still an amazing ultimate. The armor value makes some damage sources virtually useless. What's a Plat Winston gonna do with his Tesla gun against a backline that has armor? Very little is the answer. Again, think about how good Brig is in deathmatch. Just apply some of those skills in ranked and you'll be laughing. Even after her shield bash damage gets nerfed in an upcoming patch, playing this Stalker playstyle with her will still be viable. If you isolate people into 1v1s, they have to hit harder shots to kill you, and you have your shield that will save you a lot of the time. Oh, and when you're dueling someone, every mouse one hit will heal you if all of what I've just said wasn't enough. Roadhog. So Roadhog is another hero that is fairly easy to counter in some ways, but one that if you let them get away constantly and play in a scrimmy way with flanking hook value can completely take over a match. Hog is what I would call an introductory hero for skill shots. The hook isn't always easy to hit, but it is easier than other big value cooldowns or skill dependent abilities. What you have to play with as Hog is a monstrous health pool, regular access to reasonably easy insta-kills, and self-sustain. This part is key actually, as escaping lower ranks can come down to doing things for yourself and not relying on anyone else. Who needs your Goldaner to hit shots when you can take a breather very regularly? Hog does have some synergies with other heroes that help set him up, like the classic Orisa halt into hook, but he doesn't need that. He can just play on his own and get stuff done. The changes to his spread have made his regular shots a bit more reliable too, and he's still one of the best heroes at shield break in the game if your team is struggling against Ryan, Orisa, or even Brig. If you put some time into hitting hooks, which is easier against lower level players with worse movement, you'll start to be able to climb. Again, he's a very strong hero in deathmatch, which is a theme on this list, so put some practice time in there and then take this junker into competitive. The common ways to counter him, like having an Ana that keeps sleeping and anti-nading you, or a Zarya that bubbles every one of your hooks, take some skill and awareness themselves, so it'll be a while before you really have to start reconsidering your pick. That really starts to happen around Diamond, so until then, if you can hit those hooks and follow up, you can break on through to that next tier you've been dreaming about for a while. Farah. Okay, so Pharmacy is still strong, and it's even stronger where the hit scan mechanics required to stop it are often lacking. Farah, after her rate of fire and splash damage change, is harder to play herself than she was before, that's definitely true, but a damage amped rocket to the face still hurts, and as hard as you might find it to hit those directs, the enemy hit scan at your level are probably struggling even more to try and stop you. Plus the other strategy of stopping a dominant Farah, like using D.Va to eat your spam and win the fight on the ground quicker than you can from the air, requires actual teamwork, which as we all know can be completely absent. At higher ranks, good Anas are a serious threat threat to you as Farah as well, but at the lower levels you won't have to worry about that. They can often struggle to hit their own teammates, let alone you as you fly in the sky above everything. There's a reason a lot of players complained about Farah being overpowered for a long time. Her synergy with Mercy dominated the lower ranks. This doesn't get a lot of attention now because the power creep in the game has meant there's even easier value on offer, like our current Overlord Brig, but don't let that fool you. An actual upside to this perception is that Farah is a good hero to play against a lot of the short-range big value heroes I've just listed. What's Reaper or Brig gonna do against you if you play Farah? Turns out not much. And if people are playing those heroes to try and get that value, you can take to the air and avoid it all. Plus, if you do have a Mercy, res at these levels is amazing, and if you're constantly giving your Mercy a place to escape to, chances are she'll survive much longer as well. The lack of Lucio at lower ranks will play into your hands too, as slow ground-based comps are some of the easiest targets for you to dismantle with easier to land directs than any other comp. Farah is not to be slept on. You can really get that SR game train on the go if you add her to your decent hero pool. And that's about it for today's list. If you guys have any ideas of your own, we welcome the debate in the comment section down below. Just remember, it is possible to improve and it is possible to rank up. They're not always the same thing, but you can really do yourself a favor by playing heroes like the ones I've described and getting your own value irrespective of what your teammates are or aren't doing. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you never want to miss another video of ours again, please click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be in great company. And finally, please follow the Your Overwatch Twitter. It's where you can find updates about new videos and other cool stuff. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time.